Hey friend, welcome to the Style Thief Fashion Podcast. I'm Erin Stahl, personal stylist and founder of Style Thief Fashion. Through my tools, not rules approach, I'm here to help you unlock the style you've always dreamed of so you can live the life you want. Friend, what if you had a personal stylist who showed up in your inbox every season with exactly what you need? My seasonal style guides are like having a stylist on speed dial without the price tag. 4 times a year, you'll get curated outfit inspiration with clickable shopping links that make getting dressed actually effortless. Here's what you get: over 100 styled outfits per season for work, weekends, date nights, everything. Every clothing category covered, from tops to shoes and everything in between. Size inclusive, budget friendly options from small businesses and brands you already know and love. Plus a seasonal travel capsule so you're ready for any adventure. As a subscriber, you'll also unlock exclusive discount codes, a holiday bonus style guide, and access to every past guide in the member portal. All of this is just $199 for the entire year. That's less than a nice pair of jeans for a year of effortless style. Subscribe today and start using this season's guide right away. The link is in the show notes. Hello, friend. Welcome to another episode of Style Thief Fashion Podcast. I'm here in my freezing cold closet. We got some snow this weekend, which I'm thrilled about. I love the snow. But it is really cold in here. So I have my hot tea, mostly my emotional support warmth object here. I don't know if I'll be drinking much of it during this episode, but I definitely want to hold on to it right now. So I thought we would do a little style in review today. And this is not a general style in review of like the styles of 2025. If you've been listening to this podcast, we just celebrated a year last week, which thank you so much for being here. And if you're new, you have a whole first season to go back and listen to of episodes. But one of the episodes I did at the end of the year last year was talking about my style word for 2025. And I want to go back and review that a little bit and get really vulnerable with you and share some things from my own personal style journey. And assessing my personal style has become something that I have done more so than in other areas of my life, which I probably, should do, although I don't like the word should. I don't, at the end of the year, I like to reflect on personal moments with my family and things like that. But I don't usually go through and think, oh, you didn't meet this goal, you didn't meet that goal. And I'm not a person who at the beginning of the year sets a ton of goals. Not that I don't have them, but I don't have a planner that I get out and map out my year. I do have a vision. I do have things I want to achieve, some really exciting things that I did this year and I will do next year. But I'm a little bit more like, let's go with the flow and see what it brings. But when it comes to reflecting, I often reflect on my personal style. And maybe it is because I do put so much of my personal style and my life on Instagram that I can go back and really look at old posts, old stories. I have records and photos in my phone and albums of outfits. So I have the ability to do that. And it is something that I would encourage you to do as well. You do learn a lot about yourself when you go back and look at those moments again. How did you feel in that moment? What was going on in your life? And I'm going to be really honest with you and share that as I was going back and looking through photos, I can see in my outfits and on my face how much I struggled this year personally. And I know, and please do not think that I am making light of anything that has happened. This year was hard in so many ways for so many people. I am talking about personal style here because that's what we talk about on this podcast. So to say that, oh, I had some bad outfits is not what we're talking about here. But I don't think it is a coincidence that the overall general struggles that people in my life went through, I myself went through, that the world went through, did have an impact on how I got dressed. And so as I was going back and looking at outfits and trying to think of things, because I also want to recap for you in another episode, some of my favorite purchases of the year. I did that last year and that's really fun to go back and reflect. Even that was a struggle. I didn't shop as much. I didn't find joy in my clothes in the way that I usually do. And I think it is important to go back and reflect on that. And maybe you had an opposite experience. You had a great year personal style wise, and you made a lot of strides in the things you wanted to achieve. I think I gained a lot of awareness, but I don't feel great about the goal and the word that I chose for the year and how I lived up to that, I will say. My style word of the year this year for 2025 was fearless. I have it taped on my mirror right next to me here in my closet on a bright neon green post-it note, which is one of my favorite colors. I also chose a word for just my personal life, and that word was trust. That is on my bathroom mirror. And I don't know if I need to make these post-it notes bigger, if I need to move them around so I don't just become kind of blind to where they are in my mirror. I just sort of like ignore them. But I lost sight of both of those things. So in my personal life, the trust factor was just really trying to trust the universe more, trust the path that I was on, trust myself and the choices I was making when it came to business, when it came to personal relationships. And there were so many moments where I had to be like, oh yeah, you're supposed to be trusting those things more. And I just fully lost sight of that. And I think with my personal style as well, the fearlessness that I wanted to bring into this year didn't happen. I found myself hiding a lot. I found myself isolating a lot. I found myself getting dressed and there were some fun outfits and some fun moments that I can look back on. But especially this summer, I really, really struggled. And it wasn't just because of the normal things I struggle with summer style, which is like the heat and I'm sweating and I'm so bored with just wearing like shorts and a tank top. It was more personal. I was really going through a lot in terms of not feeling well. That's when my energy really started to dip. I started having digestive issues that were impacting my mood and my mental state and my energy. It is all connected, turns out. It is all connected. And thankfully, I have reached out and gotten help, which has helped me so much. I am already feeling so much better. But looking back on the year, I don't think I took that fearlessness to the level that I had hoped. So as I reflect back and I look ahead into the new year, I already know what my style word is going to be for 2026, which will bleed into other areas of my life, and we'll talk about that. But the fearlessness that I was hoping to lean into, I just didn't. I really played it safe. And I think that there are moments in your life where that's okay. And I think that for some of us, and this is certainly things that I have worked through with many women that I've worked with over the years with their own personal wardrobes, getting to a level of safety and reliability and predictability is an achievement in and of itself, because there are moments in our lives where things feel off kilter, and often it can come on the heels of a big change, whether it's like you've moved, you have a new career, you've had a baby, your kids are in school now, all these life transitions. Sometimes you just need to get to a point in your wardrobe where you need that reliability and you're sort of rebuilding. And maybe that's a little bit of what was happening here, but I just did not feel great about myself. And so much of it had just come from I wasn't feeling good physically, that I could see it reflected in my personal style. It was pretty status quo. It was pretty boring. Now, some people might say that it wasn't. Like, there's one outfit I was thinking of from this summer. I was like, oh, I remember going out this night and I felt really great. It was this like blue button down I had rented from Nuuly that had like a small, tiny red pinstripe, and I wore a favorite pair of my like Poshmark thrifted A-gold cutoff Parker denim shorts and these really cool red sandals that I got at the Mix that I really loved. And I had on red lipstick and I felt really great. So that was fun. And, maybe some people would be like, I would never wear a red sandal with a pair of shorts. Okay. But for me, that didn't feel as fearless as I had set out to be at the beginning of the year. And so whether or not you look back on 2025 and some of your own style goals, and if you feel like you achieve them or not, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, it is just clothes. And the whole point is that you can get dressed and you can go and move on with your day and not think about what you're wearing. But for someone like me who loves clothes, loves personal style, built a career around it. I have a one woman show around it. I have a podcast around it. I really wanted to push myself this year and I just did not. So I'm not beating myself up. I'm not disappointed in myself, but I do want to look back and figure out why. And I do think it's because, especially as we got into spring and summer, my mood was bad. I felt so terrible. And so that was reflected in my clothes. And as I'm slowly coming out of it and feeling a little bit better, I do notice that I'm willing to take more risks with my personal style, which to me is something that fearlessness in personal style is all about. Making choices that feel really great to me, but that to other people might be like, wow, this is wild and crazy and I would never. But focusing on how I want to feel in that moment is really, really important. And I think as I'm on the heels of and just wrapped up another Style Thief fashion show here in Omaha, and as I look to go on tour next year, which I'm so excited about, I felt like that show did feel fearless in terms of one of the outfits that I wore that I really, really loved, and some of the pieces that I have been putting together and purchased, thinking ahead to the shows for next year, do feel fun. They do feel fearless. They feel like the vibe that I wanted to create that I set out at the beginning of the year. But I really do know, as I look back at photos I've taken, things that I posted on Instagram, things that I just have in my phone, because I take outfit photos a lot. I think it's a really great exercise if you want to go back and kind of inspect what worked, what didn't, remember outfits that you liked, remember outfit combinations. There's so many benefits to taking photos of yourself throughout the year in different outfits. I look back and I can just see the holding back. I can see the playing small. I can see the playing it safe. I don't think it was an attempt to hide. I think it was just trying to get dressed and get through it, especially as we hit the summer and early fall. I was really, really struggling. I wasn't excited by a lot of things that were out there. And I can tell you, as someone who shops all the time for clients, I'm shopping as I'm putting together the style guides. I was having a hard time even with like the summer guide, finding things that really spoke to me. And as I put that guide together, it's not necessarily about me. There are things that I'm like, ooh, I love this. I'm going to explore this. I'm going to put this in here. I think other people will like it. I try to keep it pretty general in terms of here's things people might be looking for. Here's things that people might want. Here are trend things, whether or not I'm interested. People want to know what the trends are. I put them in there. So they're more generalized, but I was even struggling to, find things that spoke to me. I was able to kind of fit the pieces in there together, and I ultimately really like how the summer guide turned out, and I heard a lot of great things from so many of you that used it over and over again. But even in that, I could sense and reflect something's going on here that's deeper. And so this is where, when I talk about personal style and why I wanted to have the podcast to have these conversations, we can't discount how we feel and how it impacts how we get dressed. And it is okay. It is okay if you have those moments or those times in your life. Maybe it's months, maybe it's weeks, maybe it's even years where you're like, this is not representative of where I want to be, but you have other things to focus on. So your wardrobe in that sense is just there for you to like get up, get dressed, and move on with your day. But I do miss, and I can sort of already sense as I'm gearing up for next year and thinking about travel, I am re-energized because I feel better. Physically, I have a little bit more lightness. I have a sense of play and fun again in my wardrobe that I was really, really missing this year because there was just a lot. There was a lot going on. There was some sadness. There were just a lot of physical things that kept me from showing up in the way that I wanted to. So I'm just taking stock of that and noting that. And if anything, what it has shown to me is that we can't, as I said, we can't discount how we feel and how it impacts our style. And there are moments where we use our clothes to give us the boost that we need. And I certainly did that. I definitely had those times and those moments. I think about in the spring when I hosted one of my in-person workshops at Clothes Mentor, I was struggling at that time, but I had just gotten a new top from Mango, which I'll show you when I review some of my favorite purchases of 2025, which is another podcast episode that I'll have for you in a couple weeks. That top was like, it felt really fun. It's a denim shirt, and then it has a denim like bow that was so cute and fun, and it did give me like this perfect little lift. It felt polished, it felt kind of fun. There was some whimsy to it, which I loved. Fearless, maybe not for me. But I can look back and see moments where I was trying. But for most of the year, as I reflect back, even when we went on some trips this summer, I was pretty much playing it safe. And I do think that that's okay. So one of the things I'm working on and have made a really conscious effort to work on this year is a lot of self-compassion. And so as I go back and reflect, I'm again not beating myself up, but looking back with a lot of self-compassion and saying, you know, there was a lot going on here. You weren't feeling well, you weren't yourself. And so, you know, we look back at your outfits and, you know, these aren't like the most impressive, cool, inspiring outfits, but I am a huge proponent of not every outfit has to be that way every single day. We have to have the pieces in our wardrobes that can meet us where we are and support our lives and give us what we need in that moment. So I've talked about this a lot. When you need comfort, you have those pieces that you know you can go to. The jeans that always feel good. You've got for me, it's like a matching sweatsuit. It's like, okay, I'm going to go out. I want to be kind of cute, but I have to be so comfortable. A matching sweatsuit. This feels good. And I talked about this in my show. I've curated my wardrobe and focused so much on my personal style to align with my life that my closet is now my happy place. This is where I hang out. I podcast. I talk to you on Instagram. I get dressed here. And my clothes are my friends, and they will support me in the moments that I need them to. So when I was able to walk into my closet, still not feeling great, not motivated, mentally not in a great space, not feeling well, I had those things that I could rely on. So for me, that meant repeat outfits a lot this summer. It meant that some of the stuff was really loose and baggy. I sized up in a lot of things that I purchased because I was just in my gut feeling so bad that it was so uncomfortable to have things that were even remotely tight across my midsection. So I had those pieces in my wardrobe. I called in those friends of mine to support me in those moments. And I think that's what's really important. So if you look back on your year and you noticed that you were feeling similarly, you weren't feeling great, did you have those pieces in your closet that you could rely on? And I would say, maybe if you didn't, that's something you can work on. And it might not be the huge, big style goal of fearless and, I don't know, leopard print and sequins all the time. Not that that was what fearless meant to me, although I love a leopard print and a sequin. Do you have the things in your wardrobe? Can you take stock of your wardrobe and make sure that you do have the pieces that you need? So maybe your reflection for the year includes, do I have those basics that I need? And when I say basics, I'm not just talking about t-shirts and jeans. Whatever basics are to you, what are those things that you know you feel best in that you can rely on? Button-down shirts were a go-to for me. They're big, they're breezy. I can unbutton them to look a little sexy. I can wear them over a tank top if I just need a layer. I can tuck them in. I can tie them. They can be a bathing suit cover up. They do so many things in my wardrobe, but they feel a little bit more of a step up than just a t-shirt. So I relied on those a lot. Denim is always my friend. So whether it was my denim jackets or my denim shirt I bought with the bow, a couple new pairs of jeans in bigger sizes that I needed, I allowed myself, and I can have pride in the fact that I gave myself what I needed in the moment with my wardrobe. I didn't beat myself up and say, you're not going to wear anything or buy anything until your stomach feels not bloated again. I allowed my clothes to support me in those moments. So I have self-compassion for myself for what I was going through, and I feel good about the choices that I did make. So it's not so much reflecting back and thinking, you didn't meet your goal. Your outfits weren't that great. Who do you think you are? No, it's that another year on the calendar has gone by. What did my style look like in 2025? It did evolve. There were moments where I pushed myself a little bit, not as much as I wanted to, but that's okay. No one failed. There is no failing here. And I think that's one of the things I want to share with you always. And I hope you take away from this podcast and these conversations that if you keep showing up and you keep trying and you keep getting dressed every day and you bought yourself a bigger pair of pants, or you let yourself go shopping and buy some things as you were going through a weight loss journey, or you still showed up and got dressed even though the world was falling apart because that's what you needed for yourself, then you have done something good for yourself. Style is self-care. And when we have the things in our wardrobe that can support us in the moments when we need it, we are taking care of ourselves. It doesn't mean we have to go shopping all the time to make ourselves feel better. In fact, I did less of that this year because I wasn't feeling great. I wasn't feeling inspired. I wasn't feeling motivated. So that's also, I think, something to be proud of, because in the past, retail therapy was my therapy of choice, and that is not always great either. So how can you go back and take stock of what some of your style goals were for the year, or how you showed up for yourself, not for other people, not the outfits that you got the most compliments on, but the moments where you did feel good, or even the moments where you were like, you know what, I wasn't feeling great here, but I got dressed and I went to the party and I was around people and I showed up for my friends or whatever it was. So this year wasn't as fearless for me, style-wise. I definitely lost sight of the fact that I was trying to trust myself and other people in my life and the universe in general, but I'm able to reflect back and know what was going on and why, and the shifts that I need to make to achieve my goals for next year. So I just wanted to share that with you, and always be really honest about where I am in my own personal style journey. And I am doing some reflection on some of the things that I purchased that I ended up loving that were really fun. And I'll share that with you, a kind of year in review of some of the things I've purchased. And then looking ahead, I'll also share my style word with you for 2026, which is fun, and why I chose that word, and how I think it's not just going to be my word for my personal style, but my word in general for 2026. Because my God, if there is anything that we need in the coming year, it is more fucking fun, my friend. Till next time. Thank you so much for listening today, friend. If you liked this episode, share it. Don't forget to subscribe. And it would also be so lovely if you would leave a review. I really want to hear from you about the insights you had, and I'm open to your suggestions for future episodes as well. And if you're looking for even more style fun, you have to come to my Style Thief Fashion Show, coming to a city near you. This groundbreaking interactive show celebrates your unique style. Real women, real style moments, real tools, all happening live on stage with infectious energy and empowering style insights. Get tickets and more information at stylethieffashion.com/show. I can't wait to see you there.